And we should be live, right? Boom shakalaka. According to the internet, we're live, but we'll see. Sometimes it lies to us. Okay, letting it connect. There it goes. Hey, there. Boom. They were live on the internet. I can see this. I can see my face, and I see all your lovely faces. All right. I'm going to hit record. Then we can do our fun thing. Gentlemen, the topics of the show. Streaming services. Let's go. Topics of the show. Forza Horizon. It's a car game. We race. Vroom, vroom, Nathan. Kevin. Vroom, vroom, beep, beep.
Vroom, vroom.
Let's do this.
Zoom, zoom.
I will intro since my co-host has abandoned me for a child. Fucking adult.
Parenting.
Thank you.
It happens.
I did mine. Mine's still awake. I was like, I give up. Go watch a Minecraft video on something. You're killing me, buddy.
They're educational now.
Now they are. Now they are. He's obsessed right now because he's discovered Minecraft Mario, and that's a whole universe that apparently I could have made a F ton of money on if I was 10 years younger. Here we are. I'll intro. I'll flip it to you guys real quick. Do your things. Nathan, Kevin, you can plug your stuff, and then boom, we'll get right into it, and then we'll bookend this thing, and we'll call her quits at we'll book for an hour tops. And we're good to go. Cool. Let's record. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Today on the show, we're going to talk about subscription services in video games. And we got a big topic because we're going to talk about Forza Horizon 5, the goods, the updates, all of the fun stuff. Let's get into the episode right now. Everybody, welcome to Xbox A. Fellow Canucks here joining me. Very excited, guys. And Court, my co-host, he's like the Dark Knight himself. He's disappeared and he vanished, but he'll make it all back again. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here live on youtube.com/XboxA and on podcast services everywhere. I will kick it over first. I got two awesome guests joining us to fill this out, to go for our round table discussion. I'm always into it for a good round table. We get some good thoughts, get a provocative, voice some opinions and thoughts. Nathan, kick it off for us. How are you? Who are you? Let the audience know.
My name's Nathan McInerney. I am one of the co-hosts of Press YYZ, a very fun weekly video game podcast that we record live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/PressYYZ. I think I got that properly.
I think you got it.
But yeah, that's what we do. I stream every Thursday night on that channel, and maybe some more streaming because WWE 2K22 is coming soon, and I'm thinking about doing that more nights a week on my personal channel, which I don't have up and running yet.
Sir, are we gonna have to talk? Because people may not know this on this channel, but I also have a channel on that stuff, that very topic. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I platinumed 2K20 last year.
Oh, you poor man. Also, good for you.
WrestleMania, before they shut it down, I bought it and I was like, let's see how bad it is. And disappointingly, not terrible. They fixed a lot of the bugs.
They did. I had a day one garbage pile, but man, they turned it around a little bit. It's still
a little bit, still
janky.
Not great. Yeah, it's still janky, and I had a little bit of jank, but not the jank I was hoping for. But I did get the platinum out of that thing, so I'm excited to get into 22.
I can't believe you platinum that thing. You are a beast of a man. I couldn't be bothered. I went back to 2K19 for the last 3 years. That's how I live my life. Yeah, that's something. Now, skipping and shifting gears down, go down and shift a gear or two. Kevin is joining us, my man. Tell the audience where you hail from. What's up? What's your show about, sir? Thank you for coming, by the way.
No, thank you for having me, Matt. Happy to be here. Was glad to get the invitation. So for anyone that doesn't know, my name's Kevin. I am the host of Project X Talk, an Xbox podcast. We are live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time over on Project X Talk, our YouTube channel. We have daily content related to Xbox, whether that's a top 5 list, saying, what's going on in the ecosystem, anything related to Xbox, we're putting videos out for it. It might not be, daily news videos, but we save that for the podcast. We have fun with our daily content. So go over there, check that out. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so any support is greatly appreciated. And I'm happy to be here. We got some great topics, and yeah, super excited. You can also find us on audio services anywhere you get your podcast. We're there. So
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for being here. So let's talk about first topic of the show. I want to get into it with you. Are subscription services the future of video games? And the future feels like it's now, because I think the short answer is possibly, yeah, dummy. It's all subscription services, everything we have. And in the world of video games, we're talking about Xbox Game Pass, and we're talking about the upcoming Spartacus over at Sony. And I want to get your thoughts for both of you, what your thoughts are on, let's start off with Xbox. Let's start with the bad. No, I'm kidding. Let's start off with Xbox and Game Pass. And really, I want to know your thoughts overall from kind of the evolution of it, where it started, because I know on my end, and I want to know from both of you, where I started like ground zero. Xbox announced it. I got in there and I touched that very, very small library of Gears and Halo, and that was pretty much it. And then rinse and repeat. And then we'll talk about Spartacus and what the potential is with Sony. So, Nathan, let's start with you. What are your thoughts overall with Xbox Game Pass? How has that service been for you? Because you, my friend, have come from the wild world of PlayStation for life. And now, for life. But now you are coming over to Xbox, and you've been dabbling a lot more. So what's your take on Game Pass? How has it been for you?
So Game Pass is a great way to experience games. Yeah, you brought up my history. I've been mainly a PlayStation guy. I've never owned an Xbox up until the Series X. I bought last June. So I've been still fairly new to the Xbox ecosystem. I think Game Pass was one of the main reasons I came on board. It sold me a box because of the amount of games that I had access to with Game Pass. There's a plethora, and it's not even when you're going back and looking at old Xbox content, which they have a lot of their older first party titles on. But they are constantly bringing new exclusives. I think the one, what was the new game last year? The one that from Square that didn't do as well as they wanted it to do. It launched day and date.
Outriders.
Outriders, thank you. Outriders came out, and everybody was part of this conversation, and I wasn't. And that's what made me want to get into it. So I think it's very strong, and I think Xbox is doing it properly.
Yeah. Kevin, what about you? What do you feel about how Game Pass, being on an Xbox podcast yourself? What's your whole take on it as a whole?
So I love Game Pass, and I know it's cliche, but it really is, the best deal in gaming, as everyone literally says. It has. I sat down at the end of last year, and I was like, how much money did I actually save? Because I kept a running list of how many games I played off the service.
Okay.
And I saved over $1,500 just by playing games on Xbox Game Pass. So the value is undoubtedly there if you are a hardcore gamer and you're playing the games. But even if you're a casual gamer, you're playing those 1 to 3 big hits a year. For Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, it's $180 in the US. So if you play 3 AAA games on the service, it paid for itself. So for me, the value just can't be beat. And unlike Nathan over here, I'm basically the opposite. PS5 was my first PlayStation.
Okay.
So me diving into that ecosystem and seeing like, okay, PlayStation Plus gives me some free games, but how many of them have I actually played so far is very, very small. Like most months, I don't even bother claiming them because I'm like, I'm never going to play these games. Meanwhile, Xbox over here is dropping two drops a month, and I'm like, there's always something in here I'm checking out, whether it's an indie game or a big AAA.
Kevin, I'm with you too, because I do the exact same thing, and I've been PlayStation for many, many years, and I found lately, maybe it's just me, but with PlayStation Plus, maybe in the last year, I mean, and Nathan, you're way more into the ecosystem, but I found anyways that I'm not getting the same value out of that subscription service for the free games. And it's just me. It's probably just my taste in games, and it just doesn't jive with me. And Xbox has been pulling me further and further over there because, well, just for obvious reasons, but it's the catalog. I just feel like I'm just getting better value. And like, I'm with Kevin where I'm like, I don't know. it's not grabbing me, those free titles.
I think there's a difference though when you're looking at like PlayStation Plus and Game Pass. They're two separate services.
Yeah.
Oh, for
They
sure.
aren't apples for apples. You like you're better to compare PlayStation Plus currently with Games with Gold.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because those are more, and I think PlayStation Plus, there's no question, has Games with Gold beat every single month.
Yeah.
It's like Xbox has given up on Games with Gold.
Totally. And Court and I
well,
say
they
this all
have.
the time too. We're like, why haven't they just folded it in? Why isn't it just
Mhm.
Game Pass? Like with Gold, like scrap it. I don't see any use for it.
Because there's probably people who haven't signed up for Game Pass and who are still legacy on Games with Gold. They, like, I was at Costco the other day. They still sell those Games with Gold cards,
Mhm.
or the
Yeah.
Xbox Live cards. So those are still available. Like, people are still just getting that, and those are what they're getting. It's not a great offering when you're looking at it. I think PlayStation has it hands down beat. I will say there's usually at least one game a month. It's very little that a month doesn't hit where I don't find something that I want to try. So I do think PlayStation does all right with it. But it's not apples for apples.
No. So then what about the upcoming Spartacus that will potentially make it a little bit closer to being almost a 1-for-1, or at least be in the same conversation? What do you guys think about, I guess, what I assume you both have looked at it too, and where you're like, okay, this is what it looks like from Spartacus, the new, I guess, competitor almost to that of Game Pass. What do you think of that, of what we've kind of seen so far? Like, Kevin, does it jive with you? Because I've looked at those tiers and topping out at, what is it, guys, like $16 a month is the...
Yeah.
What's it doing for
Not
you,
a-
Kev?
I think I said this on Twitter, but my understanding from what Jeff Grubb says is that $16 a month will be the is it premium tier? I think was it.
Yeah.
It's premium extra, and then I forget the normal one. But basically, $10 you get PS Plus as it is today, the free games, nothing else. $13 a month you get PS Plus plus a games catalog of like PS4 games. And then 16 you get all that plus game demos and streaming.
Yeah.
And game trials, I believe.
And the backwards compatibility as well, I believe, was in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So
classic
you
games,
get
classic games.
everything in
games.
extra tier, download and stream PS Now games, classic game library, first party game trials, PS2, PS3, and PS4.
Yeah. So for me, I don't really see the appeal, and I'll explain why. Because for me, I don't see this as a Game Pass competitor because this is essentially a rebranding of PS Now from what I'm seeing, and a subtle price increase. If we don't know the actual prices, this is all speculative, but I pay $5 a month for PS Plus. If you do annually, it's $5. If you do monthly, it's $10. So these could just be monthly prices and annual doesn't. But if they're telling me that my PS Plus is going to go up $5, I'm upset with that because I am not getting anything extra if these tiers are to be believed. Second, you're taking PS Now, what already exists, for $10 a month. You're throwing one more dollar on there, and now you're giving us game trials. Streaming is already available. Downloading a games catalog is already available. And I just don't see what value they're really adding. I mean, $16 a month for game trials isn't really worth it to me. I know it might be worth it to some people that are more, hey, I don't want to spend $70 on a PlayStation game because the price is more expensive, so let me try it. But
Kevin, I'm with you there. So I'll say this. I thought the exact same thing when it came to game trials. Court and I talked about this on the show too, and I was like, both of us, our initial reactions were like, oh, I don't need this. Like, I don't need a game trial. What's the point of this? But I was thinking much more in the viewpoint of Game Pass, that I'm used to just like the whole game is there. So thinking about getting a trial makes zero sense. But I think there is a giant market of, I think, players even like myself, where I'm playing the AAA big experiences that cost in Canada $90 after tax. Like, it's a lot. And if that game is not jiving with me, that is a loss. That is hard pill to swallow. So I look at something like a game trial, if it does work out in our favor, where I could play Forbidden West and play 30 minutes or a 5-hour or a 1-hour trial, whatever it may be, or a slice of it, I actually think that's kind of cool. Nathan, what do you think? Because you are very much into PlayStation. What did you think about the tiers and where they're going?
So I want to get some official information from Sony, and
Yeah.
I want to
Mhm.
understand this a
Of
little
course.
bit better. I think when I look at the service on paper, it's not as good as Game Pass, but at the same token, I don't think it needs to be for PlayStation. I think PlayStation has their internal numbers that they need to hit. You're never going to see day and date games. I think they value. I'm trying to think about the right words to use here. Xbox has been struggling with first party games for the entire Xbox One generation. And it isn't until recently they got 2 wins out of Forza and Halo that were within a few weeks of each other. Where Sony has been firing all cylinders with all their first party stuff. So I think it's something where they still see premium value. Now, what I could see happening is those games being being added to the service after 6 months. And I think the bigger thing that I am more curious about is because you're right in terms of this is it's I had a point.
PS
sorry.
Plus and PS Now together.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
PS Now. And PS Now is an okay service. I actually got it a month or so ago again just to try it out, and the streaming actually works all right. I was playing Tekken, one of the Tekken tag tournaments on it,
And it
streaming,
worked?
and
Like, you found that it was
yeah.
like-
I would say
there wasn't
you
much lag?
Streaming
No.
a fighting game. That's ballsy.
So, and it worked, and I was playing it. It was actually pretty good. I couldn't
Okay.
tell I was streaming. So I think the text there, what I'm more curious about is I want to see partnerships, because when you look at PlayStation Plus, they have been very good to get new games that are debuting onto PlayStation Plus. Very much like Game Pass has done. What I want to see is their relationships with third-party studios, because that's the thing. They need, if they're coming out with a rebranded PlayStation Now and it's all being built into Spartacus, and it's coming. We know it's coming.
Yep.
What's more important is what do their relationships look like with other companies? How are they creating a games catalog, especially if they're not putting first-party stuff day and date on it? And what does their back catalog look like, and how long does it take back catalog games to hit the service?
Well, one of my biggest concerns is, as someone who still has PlayStation Now, had it for a very long time, it can, like, I once was playing Ratchet and Clank, and the servers just were like, nope, we're just not, we're not going to have a good time with this. So, and as someone that tried to review a game while on vacation, Matt knows I was furious. I tried to review a game on the Xbox Cloud service because I had nowhere else to play it, and trust me, like Nathan, we're the very lucky few out here in Ontario, Canada, where we have very good internet. This service wouldn't be good enough across the rest of the world. The internet in a lot of places just sucks. I am more curious as someone that loves Sony's first party games, like loves them. Like I joke, even if Xbox would have just put Gears 5 out and rebranded it and brought it out on the Xbox Series X, it would have destroyed. That game would have done very well. But it is what it is. But you're right. PlayStation doesn't have to do day and date. They eventually, I think, will. Phil Spencer made a comment saying that he thinks that it will come. I think they have no choice. And I don't even think it's 6 months. I know I said it once. I think it was on your show on Press Play YYZ. We had the same conversation. I said, well, maybe they'll do 6 months. I don't even think they'll do that. I think they might just do the, and this is just all speculative here. I think they might pull the whole year. Like, I said to Matt before, if they can at least pull everything that's in that PS Plus catalog, as someone that's had it from the beginning, if you look at the games, they're unbelievable. So I have a great library because of it. If they can get all the ones that they don't need licensing for, so that when they start this service, I would be very disappointed if Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man PS5 are not in the launch of this service.
To at least hook people,
Horizon
right?
Zero Dawn, like, well, yeah, it's not even that. I think it's a detriment and a thank you to the PlayStation players that they're gonna, as you said, pay extra for PS Plus because you're gonna be charged more for it. They need to give you something for it, and if they're gonna be like, hey, day and date when you start this, and I think that would be a huge win for them. Like for them to say, hey, Spider-Man PS5 is in here, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is in here. Like I think they need to. PS5 games need to be in there, and I'm hoping there's a lot of patents out there that Mark Cerny has somehow figured out to be able to download PS3 games.
Yeah.
If you can download Infamous 1 and 2
Yeah.
and I can play those again,
And
gonna
maybe
be
get a little
very
bit of an
happy.
upres. And if they can
I don't
play with the
I
architecture
don't
of it.
think I think we're asking too much there. That's something
Yes.
Xbox has done. I don't think
Yeah.
PlayStation's going to do that. Smart
agree with
delivery
that.
and those services that's not happening on PlayStation. That's not something they'll do. But giving us PS5 games, I think that's what's that game coming to PS now? Right now?
Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Warrior
so
3.
that's a brand new game. That's
Mhm.
that's letting us know that I think that deal was made them thinking that their service was going to be ready, and it's not. And to my knowledge, they're going to be using the Azure, the Microsoft servers to do this new service. They made a deal with
Azure
Microsoft.
service,
Yeah.
cloud.
They made a deal years ago
With
for it.
Gaikai, right?
I want to say it's
Well, no, that's the
so
Gaikai, but they
bought
just made a
Gaikai,
deal.
didn't they?
They just
Two
made
ye-
a deal with Microsoft just recently.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I think they made that Microsoft deal. It was a long
Mhm.
time ago, but
And
it was
so-
an effort to make this cloud. So you'd think so.
Yeah, because as someone that's used both cloud services, the Microsoft Cloud, the blades as they call them, is better than the Gaikai. It was terrible when they
Oh,
first
for
launched
sure.
PlayStation Now. It was horse poop. So sorry, I know I just
No,
have a hard
I-
time swearing.
I
I don't know. I think there's a world for both of these services. Game Pass to me as a parent, and I'll always go back to this, is still the best value in gaming.
Mhm.
Nintendo Online and anything Nintendo is the worst value in gaming. And
Yeah.
Sony, even though they make you pay a lot for their games, they give you heck of games, man. Like they really do. And like the fact that every Sony person had no problem paying that extra $15 to get the uprated Uncharted, when on Xbox they know they would have got it for free, but they're like, well, it's Uncharted. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Xbox has
Yeah.
stuff coming down the road. They have Indiana Jones, they have Starfield, but these games, no one's ever played them. We don't know what they are.
Kev, you want to jump in there?
So
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to. So I've also had PS Now for a few months. I played the entire Sly Cooper quad trilogy streaming. So
Wow.
like, yeah. So and it worked fine. Like, did it look the prettiest? No, but like, I didn't have any like interruptions or like crazy input lag. So my experience with the streaming part is good, but that isn't my preferred way to play any game. So if they're going to do this new service, games have to be downloadable in my eyes. You can't just give us what you already have, because what you have isn't working. PS Now isn't working. Like it had 3 or 4 million subscribers total. People they've shown you that this isn't what they want. They want to be able to download games, even if they're older games. So we need to figure out a way to make that happen. And then I wanted to push back on the
3.2 million.
3.2 million. Okay, yeah. So I wanted to talk about what was it? It was something Nathan said about PlayStation Now. It's completely slipped my mind. Oh,
Happened to me earlier.
Yeah, yep. I lost my train of thought, boys. Sorry.
Once you get to our age, oof.
yeah.
It's all gone. Well, then
It's a
then pin that, Kevin, if you can get back
Yeah,
to it. It'll trigger you or not. But then let's look at what's the future then. We understand that have an idea of what Spartacus is going to bring us. We know what to expect from Game Pass. And even with the point that you guys have been talking about with Spartacus and, and even Court saying like, it looks like we could see them doing something where they push it out a year. Potential being as part of like a strategy.
That's
Go,
what it
Kevin,
was.
go.
That's what it was. Yeah. I want to push back. I don't think they can come out and say in 1 year you're going to get the games on the service. I fully
No, I don't think it'll be a year. I'm just thinking this is PlayStation, and someone that's had them since PlayStation 1, they don't care. They're like Nintendo. They'll put it out when they put it out. They'll give you the game when they feel like giving you the game. Like Nintendo can make us pay. How many times have I bought Mario?
which is fine. If they don't tell you, that's one thing. But if they come out and announce in 6 months all our first party games will go into the service, or in a year all our first party games will go into the service, I think that is a death sentence. Because who is going to buy their games day one for $70 when, hey, I can wait 6 months and get it
Agreed.
for
See,
free.
I'm with you, Kevin, where I don't think it's a good strategy of come out and just pre-announce that, like, hey, Uncharted, the next Uncharted game is obviously out. And then they say in 6 months, it's coming over to our service, and people will sit there and go, I don't want to get it. I think they
I
do a
don't think they
Nintendo,
will.
which is,
I
it
don't
might
think they
come,
do.
it might not.
Yeah.
I think they buy them to be in the conversation right now.
Yep.
I truly do. They're these. You're telling me, and I'll throw this back at both. You're telling me right now that they announce a new Last of Us, and you're like, don't worry, I'll wait a year. No, you won't. You'll
No,
be lining up
I
on
know
day
that.
one and playing that game. Come on now, people. New Uncharted
And-
comes out. Oh, I'll wait the year. No one will wait
I'll
that
wait.
year.
I'll do it
These
out
are
of spite.
PlayStation first party games. I'm sorry. They're better than Xbox first party games. I'm an Xbox guy, but PlayStation makes a better first party game right now. These are just facts.
Nathan?
No, I agree with Court. I think he was nailed it when he said the conversation. People don't want to miss being in that
There.
conversation.
Yep.
And not to mention, at the same time, let's just look at how many people are actually going to subscribe to Spartacus. Like, there's 120 million PS4s in the wild. We've got almost 20 million PS5s. You're probably looking at, like, would you think half of them would be subscribed?
Well, I bet
Probably
Court
not.
is doing the stats. It's somewhere in the neighborhood. We just said that PS Now subscribers was 3.2 million. PlayStation
Yeah.
Plus was higher than that.
I
PS
think
Plus was
PlayStation Plus was
above-
around 20.
Oh, I thought PS Plus was like above 50.
It could be above 50.
Yeah,
It
but
is
you
a
know that
cheaper
those
service than Game Pass.
You're muted, Court.
It was 48 million as of December 31st.
Okay, so
Yeah,
round up to
okay.
50 mil, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that the PlayStation Now owners are Plus subscribers. Like,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know who would not have the other one or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
So you lump them in and just say you got a full bucket of 50 million current subscribers. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna get it. But,
like, people are going to buy those games. It's
Yes,
just, like,
that's your
people who
fan
don't
base. That's your
subscribe-
core fan base, right? They are the ones that get the membership, and they will buy Uncharted day and date, even
I
if
will
it
get
comes
the
out
one
later.
miss out.
I will get the membership day and date. I get Uncharted in the mail tomorrow, and I can't wait to play the darn game.
So then, what's
I can't wait.
What's the future, guys? Then looking at this and how they line it up for both services? What does it look like to you in 3 years, 5 years, when we see things like the Activision acquisition finally kind of come to fruition, where we've seen something starting to snowball on that end? And I use that as an example because that's Xbox's biggest thing ever that they have done, and the Bethesda acquisition too. And then on Sony's side with first parties and this new streaming service, what do you guys think the market looks like as a whole in 3 to 5 years?
I have a quick analogy. Sony is the Disney Plus. That's exactly what they'll be. Like
Of Disney
the
Plus?
stuff. But Disney Plus still, they'll have the
Yeah.
premium access, or you can wait till they have the movie theater. I don't even think they'll have the premium access. I think that'll be like down the road. You can get the premium access and get the game cheaper, but they'll be like Disney Plus, and Game Pass is Netflix, and then Ubisoft will be your Amazon. It's all going to be all in streaming services. It's all going to be services. You'll be able to get any game you want. It's just depending on what service it's on, and you'll have subscriptions to all of them. And that's what TV has become. That's what video games is going to become.
Hmm.
That's what movies has become, right? Look at the Netflix commercial. We all saw it. We all saw that thing on Twitter. We were like, wow, that was amazing.
I think for platform holders, you might be right. Like Xbox and PlayStation for sure are going to at least have a subscription service. We know this. They're going to have a subscription service model, whether that is their main focus, like Xbox seems to be pushing, or whether it's a supplement like PlayStation looks to be. That's up for debate. I don't think publishers themselves are like Ubisoft Plus. I don't give that service much longevity, if we're being honest. Like, if EA came out with well, they already have one, but if other publishers are like Annapurna, if they're like, oh, get all our indie games in a
Or
subscription.
Square Enix was like, here's the
Yeah.
Square Enix Plus.
Yeah, but Square Enix, we all know,
I know,
will be on PlayStation
but just-
service.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
come on now.
That's why that's my point, Court. Like, if we know that they're just going to go to the platform holders, then that's fine. We're going to have two competing big subscription services, and then you got Nintendo doing whatever they're doing over there. I don't really know what's going on.
Ubisoft Plus right now has 12,800 subscribers.
Oh, wow. 12,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not much.
smashing it. Yeah.
Well, we joked like that'll get folded in, but they're just going to get folded into something, right?
Yeah.
It's going to
Well,
be the add-on. Like you have
which is
Game Pass,
fine.
you can add on Ubisoft
Yeah.
Plus. You already can add on EA Play, right?
Well, it's
Which
just
is
part
fine.
of it. If you have Ultimate,
It's
Yeah,
Ultimate.
EA
It comes
Play
with
is-
part of
yeah,
it.
you have to have Ultimate. Okay.
which is fine. I think if we start seeing those fold into the platform holder subscription, I don't think we get a Disney, Hulu, Netflix. Like I don't think we see as many different
No.
services just because the marketplace for games won't buy from individual publishers like that.
So the only caveat I'll give to that is we thought this about we I feel like we're all 90 years old and we're all like, well, this is never going to happen. But you know what? It keeps happening. So in the music industry was like, oof, Napster's bad, Kazaa's bad. Oh my god! Now everything is like you can buy physical media, but media is either on Spotify, Apple. That's just the way it is.
Mhm.
Movies, same thing happened. Like they're really still trying to push this movie theater. Heck, I'm going to the movie theater on Friday, but movie theaters are going to be not many out there. It's going to be like ones or twosies out there, and everything will go to streaming services. It unfortunately, as much as people like their physical media, we've talked about this. You can buy a game now. It's literally just downloading it from the store, even when you put the disc in. It's going to be where all these other publishers, we're about to witness in the next 3 years, Microsoft and PlayStation and Tencent, they're just going to start buying publishers. That's just what they're going to do. It's no longer buying middle studios. They're buying the publisher. And that's what's going to happen. And it's just which one goes to what and where you play it on which service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think we see everything go away like what you're talking movie theaters and that in the next 2 decades. The United States infrastructure is not set up for streaming. Our internet, 90% of the country in the United States cannot handle strictly streaming. They need the physical.
Then why do streaming services do so well? Because the rest of the world
because our coasts have the majority of the people.
I'm going to say this right now for the first time. It's because there's 3 of us on here. It is not always about the United States, and especially if you look at what's going on. No. I want you to if you look at what's going on around the world, like Xbox right now is trying to push into Japan right now, and Japan is all about portable and streaming. They don't care about sitting in their house. They want it streaming. They want to be able to play on their phone
for quite a while too. So
100%.
even
And Game Pass is getting huge. There's a reason Game Pass promotes the fact that you can play the game on your phone. There's 100% a reason they do that, and that's for that Western audience. If you're saying in the next 20 years, it will 100% be all streaming. Like just the movie theaters won't exist. It's just like they just won't. Unfortunately, the pandemic jump-started this because I'm sitting at home, and I know I've talked to Nathan about this before. When Disney Plus got rid of the premium thing, we were both pissed as parents. Oh, I'm so sorry, but I did not have this was amazing for my kid. Like Encanto was on. Look at Encanto.
Yeah.
That movie didn't do well in the theaters. It's now the number one Disney soundtrack in the history of Disney, and because it got dropped on Disney Plus.
Also, it's the best Disney soundtrack.
Yeah, my kids
far.
Court introduced it to me because I'm like, I keep seeing it. My kids had not watched it, and then they did. Court's like, put it on,
and
they
that's
watched
because
it
it was on
5
Disney
times
Plus.
in a row.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh. And the soundtrack, bananas for them. So yes, that's Nathan. What did you think about kind of the future where we're headed with Xbox, PlayStation, and the subscription models for games?
So I'm mixed on it. I think it's probably it's a net positive, probably. I do think it feeds into our more needs for subscription services and how many subscription services can people support when you look at the different ones coming on there. And I think we need to look at how games are going on services. Like today, Guardians of the Galaxy was announced.
Yeah.
For Game Pass, and one of my co-hosts on my podcast said that people need to stop getting mad when games come to Game Pass, but I think there needs to not mad, but when they've paid for them and they come to Game Pass. But there almost needs to be a moratorium on how long they wait if people have paid money up front for them.
It's like spoilers. It's like, how long can I wait to not say anything before? It's like, this guy's angry that you spoiled Batman from 10 years ago. You're like, okay, this is...
Yeah, well, and it just like they paid full price for it. It's like when a game goes on sale after you paid full price for it the next week.
Very
It's
true.
it gives you like a feeling like, oh, I could have waited and I could have saved that money. So I think there's good and bad, and like people are going to complain about these
Mhm.
things no matter what happens, and that's just the honest truth.
And Guardians
Um,
is really cool though because it speaks to what you guys are all saying with around the conversation of, should PlayStation announce their first parties coming or their games coming out to their
yeah.
subscription service in 6 months, a year? Should they not? What should Xbox be doing with that? And then we see something like Guardians happen today, where just,
Mhm.
hey, this has been out since October, and we all bought it. We bought it
And
discounted. Oh, come on, Kevin, it's a good game. But the
I
vast majority of people, they bought it later around Christmas time, whatever, and they, for the most part, people enjoyed it with some hiccups, but they bought it from $60 to $40 in that range, and 6 months goes by or whatever, boom, it's on Game Pass. And that's without telling people like, hey, it's gonna come. I think there's still a huge audience. Like Kevin's like, I never played it, but it's on the service, so there's a good chance he downloads it
Kevin,
and gives
play
a
it
shot.
right now.
I
On the
am
March 10th,
I am.
that's all you're playing. Oh
Got a
my God.
reminder on my phone to download it on March 10th.
So good.
Told everyone, I was like, guys, I was justified not buying this for $25 on Black Friday now because it's in Game Pass. So
And
like,
I almost didn't buy it, and I can't remember who was. Was it either you, Nathan, or Mitch that streamed it?
Mitch,
Yeah, and
Mitch
I
streamed
watched
it.
Mitch
Yeah,
stream it, and I was like, I have to buy this game.
I bought
Like,
it for my kids for Christmas, and I didn't play. I haven't played it. They've played it, so at least it's gotten some use.
Yeah.
But it's on my need to get to list. So
so if Sony takes that approach, then I don't think there will be a problem because the people that didn't pick it up will get a sudden surprise
Oh, I
and be
agree.
happy.
Yeah.
But my only issue was if they announced it, that's where I think
Correct.
issues come in. But if they just surprise drop, hey guys, look what we have a gift for you today. It's Last of Us 3 coming to the
Yeah.
the
Yep.
service, then we're all good there.
And it
But you
gives
could
those
see a
titles that,
pattern.
yeah, go
They
ahead.
had
Gord.
the pattern going though. If you look what games like Tomb Raider has been on the service, Hitman's on
Mhm.
the service, and now Guardians of the Galaxy's on the service.
Yeah.
Yeah, goodbye.
There's a pattern.
Square likes to put games on the
And they make money. Like I had this conversation with Mitch today, and I down the rabbit hole, and Phil Spencer is kind of alluded to how the Game Pass works. They either pay the company for
Mhm.
all of their publishing costs, or they pay them a certain percentage to go on, and how much they make. They make
Yeah.
more of a cut on their DLC and so on and so forth, and they get to choose which one they want.
The piece
Yeah,
on
have
you.
you-
So
Go ahead. Kev.
that's not a bad deal. If you recoup all your money from a game like Avengers that you
Yeah.
loved that was really bad,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not a bad deal.
So it's great. I was gonna say, if you've listened to Defining Duke Ultimate with the show that COG does with Mr. Matty Plays, they've had devs come on and explain the business back end of Game Pass, and they're always like, we get the money up front, and it helps us like basically you're in the black day one when your game drops. You don't have to worry about your sales. So for me, it's like, if your game's struggling, which apparently Square Enix says all their games struggle on sales wise, then they just throw it on Game Pass and get their money.
And I love that for smaller. We're talking a lot of the big AAA games, like these huge tentpole titles. But I love the idea of the subscription models if they are in favor and they work for smaller devs, for teams that are smaller size that are working on the first game to bring it to market, or it's it's something that they've had in the on the drawing board, or it's a section of the team. It's a smaller group of the bigger team that is working on something more of an indie title. And I love that because it gives them an opportunity on a Spartacus, on a Game Pass, to put it out there. Xbox says, yep, we'll give you, here's your check, get you on the service, see how it performs. And if it does better, then great. You get that one, you get version 2, you get a second game out of it. Or the studio can go and work and finance something else to work on something bigger. So I like that from the streaming services, that it's kind of a stepping stone. And altogether, we do get some really, really awesome games. And if we look at the, from Game Pass anyways, what have been some of the, before we move on to the next topic, guys, what are some of the big games that you've been playing on Game Pass? They're kind of sticking with you. I think I'm going to go with Nathan. What do you got?
So what are some games that I recently got all the achievements for? Nobody Saves the World, for Telling Lies.
It's a beast
So those
with
are the two big
achievements.
ones. We'll talk about Forza. We'll come back to Forza, but Forza is the game that sticks with me and it is on Game Pass. And I'm going back to Forza 4 and getting all the achievements in that. I'm
Oh my
almost done that
God.
too. So
Kev?
I'm so glad you said Nobody Saves the World. I love that game. That's like
Mhm.
my front runner for Game of the Year right now. I absolutely love it. I got the 100% as well. It's amazing, amazing game from Drinkbox. So that one for sure. If you haven't played it, that came out in January. Last month for Game Pass didn't really hit that much. For I played Paparazzi, got the 100% in that.
Okay, cool.
Well,
If you
I'm
want,
saving that with my boy.
yeah, it's a nice, relaxing, easy. Kids will definitely like it, for sure, for
Mhm.
sure. But I mean, March is already looking mighty good for Game Pass.
It is.
Mhm.
Now, one title that Nathan did mention was Forza Horizon 5. It's a game that I thoroughly enjoy. That was my game of the year last year. Court liked it and then deleted it because he had better things to do, such as the Halo. And I will say that I really wish that they had spread those games out. Court and I talked about this on the
Yep.
show even today. We're like, because I think Nathan, like, for your Kevin, have you played a lot of Forza? Were you dabbling into it? Where are you on the spectrum with the game?
I played a good amount at launch. I played like the 2 weeks before Halo dropped,
And
and
then-
then it was
Halo's over there. Then it's okay. I gotta go.
Yeah, it was intermittent after that, but I haven't touched it in quite some time.
Fair enough, because there's a big update that we're going to talk about next about this. But like Nathan, I remember this is what I was saying with Court today is when Forza came out, I loved seeing all of the posts on Twitter of everyone taking their screenshots, everyone posting these just awesome shots, these crazy tricks, these stunts, all of it. And then Halo dropped. It's just battle rifles everywhere in my face, just blasting off Court, just hitting it left and right, just all up in my face, squirting blasters and plasma rifles everywhere. Court.
Too
All
many
of
things blasting in your
Too
face.
many things are blasting.
You really that got awkward quick.
No.
But yes,
Yeah.
it was
For you.
it bothered me because I was thoroughly enjoying that game.
Yep.
And I felt like Matt and I were very lucky to be able to get review copies of Halo. Unfortunately, they didn't give you any achievements in your review copy, so we had to play it twice. So by the time I had finished the campaign the second time and then I started getting into the multiplayer, I just couldn't get back into Forza. Like I went back into it and I was just like, okay, where am I? What was I doing?
Where am I? You're in a car, sir. You are
No,
in
I
a
know
car
that,
on
but,
a
like,
mountain.
I was in like a mode when you were playing Forza, like I could go back every day.
Yep.
And then I was just like, I don't even know what I was doing anymore. I don't even know where I was.
Gas pedal. Press the
It'd been
gas
like a
pedal.
month, right? Like,
Yeah.
They did that to us. And someone already jokes about it. I can't remember if it's Sean Capri or Luke. They joke about how, Halo killed Forza. And I truly believe they did a disservice. And I understand that, both games had delay issues and you put it out when you put it out, you put out the game when it's ready. And I think Xbox really needed Halo. It did them a lot of good. Got them a lot of goodwill. Halo, the month of December was Halo, and we all remember it as that.
Well, we're going to get a little bit more of Forza Horizon because it might turn you around. It might get Kevin to turn that bad boy on and go
the
vroom, vroom.
stunt part.
And it's going to be
I'm
the
in.
stunts. So let's give you the breakdown, boys, of what you need to know about this. Nathan's like, I memorized it. I've already done it. I've already achieved everything before you. So eat glass. What you need to know. Forza Horizon 5 is constantly, it's coming from Windows Central, by the way. Forza Horizon 5 is constantly evolving the open world racing game from Playground Games in the Xbox Studios. The Series 5 update, they're calling it, is right around the corner. You get dozens of new features and additions, changes, and bug fixes.
Today, it was updating on my console. It was today.
Okay, good for you. Way to go.
It doesn't
saying.
go into effect until Thursday.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thursday
Thank
at
you.
9:30 it launches. It
Thank
is
you.
updated right now.
Way to
Nathan
go.
is like the he's the pro.
Yeah,
He really is.
don't mess with him on this thing. Horizon Rush Festival site is taking over the world with new decorations. You get 16 new PR stunts and more. There's speed traps. There's all kinds of shenanigans in there for us to do and for Nathan to 100% again. Then the Series 5 update will release to players Tuesday, March 1st, with the festival playlist beginning Thursday, as Nathan has told us. They went through a whole Twitch stream going through Playground Games talking about all the additions, but we've got playlist additions, you've got new cosmetics perks and rewards, the Event Lab editions. You've got new playlist cars in there and a slew of bug fixes and Court, the big one we talked about today, which was the accessibility features. So you are getting American Sign Language and British Sign Language in Forza Horizon 5, which I think is phenomenal.
Yeah, and friend of the show, Marcus, he even put in our comments like that Playground Games is like made him one of his favorite developers now. Like all he wants to do is play their games because he has issues with. So for him, he needs it, right? So, I am really hoping because I sent something to Nathan. There's and it was leaked out into the internet because you can see it if you go into the insiders. There is DLC also coming for this game. And they haven't announced it yet. I think they do need the DLC. I think that's what they need to get people back. I've seen the DLCs from previous like Hot Wheels and stuff. They need something fun to get you back in, or somehow get the Batmobile in there or something. You know what I mean? Like it'll get people into the game. Go Nathan.
So DLC is coming for sure. I don't think that brings people back into the game because that's an extra that you have to pay for. It won't be included in Game Pass. You had to buy the premium setup.
Yes, but they were showing the stats. The amount of people that bought the premium setup so they could play this game early was astounding.
No, and I know that did well. I think here's the thing though, and I look at Forza. It was put, and this ties into our subscription talk. This was put into a subscription service, and more people tried it than would have ever played what are the Halo Forza or the Forza Horizon 4 numbers versus the Forza Horizon 5 launch numbers? When you look at those, like that first year, you had 20 million players who tried Forza Horizon 5, and you had more goodwill to that series than has ever existed because it's the right game at the right time. It's fun. It's not a hardcore simulation game. I think the Motorsport series is going to struggle. They aren't going to hit the peaks that Horizon has hit. But it's impossible to keep those numbers, especially when there's finite content. Like I've done everything in the game. I'm now doing just the weekly challenges. I'm going to keep doing the updates. But I've done every single bit of that game. So they're going to keep bringing stuff out, weekly challenges, and that'll keep me engaged. And I'm looking forward to seeing the updates. But I think because of how many people got into it with Game Pass and just tried it, maybe they put 3 hours into it. Maybe they put Court. I don't even know how many hours you got into it. 10?
No, me, I got way more than that.
Okay.
I can pull up the stats, but I can also pull up the stats on the achievements to show you how many people played the game. Right, like Halo, much as I love that campaign. If you look at, there's a lot of diamond achievements in that game for story. A lot finishing the game. That's a diamond achievement. So let me just pull up because you can pull up the stats, right? And you can actually look to see playtimes for people. So
Nathan, what does it need then? As Court's looking at the achievement piece, what is in Kevin too? Like, what does the game need to do? Is it another DLC like
26 hours I put into the game?
26?
Man.
Okay, so what does the game need
bring it back
for future content? I think this update and this patch brings me. I've enjoyed the game. It just kind of gone off to do other games, but totally brings me back. And I'm like, great, an excuse to go back in there. Like Kevin, for you've been more casual with it, where you're like played it, moved on. Does something like this hook you, or does the game need to even bring you back if it can at all?
I think for me, the big thing that drove me away from it that wasn't Halo was the amount of issues connecting with friends. It was absolutely broken for like the first few weeks that I tried it, and it really put me off because this is a game I want to play with my friends. I want us all to get in our cars, deck them out however we, looking silly. Like I got a bunch of weird anime cars, Pokemon everywhere. I want to be driving around. I just want more things to do with your friends, and that you can do the races, you can do the little the infection game mode type thing that they have. But I just want something more to do, and I don't know what that is. I just like those types of multiplayer driving games. Like I grew up with like the Burnout series where you could do things, Need for Speed, stuff like that. I just want to be able to roll with my friends and do something other than races in the big open world.
I got you.
So I got a stat for you that actually shocks me. More people finish Forza Horizon 5 than Halo Infinity.
That's ridiculous.
How about that? More people finished the campaign in Forza and got Hall of Fame. 10.9% of players got that achievement.
I think it's a shorter play time to get that.
I think that's why.
I'm gonna I don't know about that, man. As someone who's finished both, I don't know.
I beat the Halo campaign because I wanted the under 8 hour achievement. I beat it in 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Wow, so you just went for it. Oh,
yeah,
man.
you can beat the Halo campaign.
My second playthrough was quick.
It.
I did that, and I you skip cutscenes, and you just go. Yeah, you 3 hours.
Only, and it's not by much, but only 9.9% of people have finished Halo. The people that played it. So the percentage is more, and I'm actually in shock that there are less rare diamond achievements on Forza, if you look at the stats, than there is on Halo. So that means more people, you were able to get more people. And I will say this, I know a lot more people that bought the Xbox Series S just recently, and they started playing Forza, and they're like, I can't not play this game. Like they finished the Halo campaign and they just went back into Forza.
Now that can be too, Court, because like what they're saying in the chat here is, it's a multiplayer experience versus more of a single player experience, right? So there is that when you're looking at players that will not care that much about maybe a Halo single player, the campaign, and just say, I'm just here to jump in online. I just play online and that's it. Play some matches, move on with my day. And they have no interest in the campaign piece, right? Not that it's hard or anything like that. It's just some people are just like, I'm only here for online.
Now there is a difference between 20 million people played, and there's 25. Yeah, Forza was 15 million, and then Halo 18 million. Yeah, 18 million, and Halo is 20 million. So that could be the exact same amount. But it's still crazy to me that there's less diamond achievements in Forza than there is in Halo, and there's a lot of collectathon stuff in Forza, like a lot.
I think one thing that it does need, and Nathan just wrote this in chat, is like you said, you're like, I want a Transformers pack. And I think of Rocket League.
That'd be amazing.
But that's what I think of is like, look at what Rocket League did and still does to this day, where you get the DeLorean and you're getting Batman vehicle and you get so much fun stuff for a soccer game to play.
Yep.
Same game, new maps, new matches. Like you could do that. And I'm with Nathan where I'm like, yes. Give me G1 and just...
What was the first car I got? Remember the Ecto 1? I was like, look what I got. I got the Ecto 1.
Yeah, I did that too. I got the Ecto 1. You got the DeLorean. Like, that's what I think players want.
Stop it with Beast Wars.
I mean, since Horizon isn't meant to be like the hardcore sim, like why don't they just give us like those? I mean, they do to some extent, but like just lean into it more. Give us like the craziest, wackiest stuff you can like... I'm okay. Like, you want to throw me some Mario Kart stuff? Like,
it's licensing, right? Like, Nathan.
So it's.
But they play nice with Nintendo, though, don't they?
Yes. So I've been really hardcore into Forza. I've fallen into their Reddit, and I'm on their Reddit quite a bit. There is a balance of people who hate what Forza 4 and 5 have become. They do not like the casual, they do not like the fun. I just finished playing all the Lego DLC for Forza 4. And I got everything from it. And it was a great time. That was how the accolade system came into play with 5. Was they had this brick system that was very, very similar with challenges. And that's hated in that community for the most part. People, you've got this balance that they have to appease people who want like high-end cars and at the same time, and what Forza Horizon was and Forza Motorsport at the same time, while catering to these like 18 million people who've jumped on who want the fun stuff. And it's a balance you've got to work out. That's a little tight.
I'm sure
isn't Motorsport, that's the Gran Turismo.
That's the Gran Turismo equivalent.
Yeah, that was one of the things I loved about Forza Horizon. I was just like, it's fun. I was like, I would love to have like Bigfoot and Gravedigger and like just and I'll give you if I could drive the Turtlemobile, like give me a 1980s pack, okay? Give me a 1980s, 1990s pack, and I will give you whatever money you want. If the Xbox is the old person, if the Xbox is the old person console, and that's what they call it, right? Then give me my nostalgia, and I'll give you your $40 extra, okay?
So they are bringing, this one has a brand new race. it's a parade float race where you race other parade floats.
Oh
from
hell yeah!
one
You're going 2
event.
miles an hour.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming. They've got special pinata suits that you can get in this one. They are adding 16 PR stunts, so 4 more like speed traps, speed zones, jumps, and trailblazers just for this session. Some may stay permanently, but some of them are going to go away. So they're adding like the fun stuff to the game, the stunt park in this update. So they are hitting those fun.
But I
neat
think,
things.
Nathan, that's to your point about Reddit. And if the community out there is like, you know what, it's a tough balance because you're going to have people that are like, I want my racing the way it was. I want the game the way it was delivered before. That's what brought me in. And I don't like that it's getting gimmicky and it's getting too wacky and stuff. I guess the alternative side is Playground Games and Xbox are sitting there looking at the data and the statistics and going, yeah, players are playing these cars and these races or doing these modes the most. They're doing PR stunts. They're doing this much photo mode. If the data is swinging that way, at the end of it all, they're going to go with what is hitting the most, I would think, right? If they're saying that PR stunts and you're like, I want to have a pinata and I want to drive a float. And if they're getting good numbers out of that, they're going to do it again.
Well, how about this? Let me have a Banjo-Kazooie car. Like,
please.
like, come on. Like, just do it. Like, if you're gonna do floats, I want a Banjo-Kazooie float. I want a Viva Pinata float. Like, just go for it. Go all the way with it. But like, whatever, Xbox. Like, you see the data. If you're bringing out the PR stunts, and which is one of the most fun I have in the game, or when I'm just doing the speed trap stuff. It reminds me of Test Drive from back in the day. I said that today, and I know you probably played that on the PC way back in the day, Nathan. It's just fun. So. If they're gonna go that way, give me the crash test dummies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go all the way with this.
And I think that's where there's basically an identity crisis that they need to figure out what they want to be. Because they're straddling 2 lines right now. And they need to figure out whether the casual audience is better or the hardcore audience that's been with them forever. Or whether they just try and migrate those people to Motorsport. Motorsport's never going to be as big as Horizon. You may have people download Motorsport. And that's the one issue with subscription services is here's how many people played the game, but that doesn't necessarily tell us how many hours they played the game. What's the average time that they turn on for 5 minutes and then we're done with it? So it doesn't really help us with information when they say 10 million tried it the first week. But I think they really need to figure out what they want Forza Horizon 5 to be and what they want the future of this series to be. Because I think this is going to be bigger than Motorsport ever was.
Well, with that, guys, we're going to wrap up our podcast for the night. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for joining us here. We're in and out in like an hour. It goes fast. I love it, though. And I love the conversation around subscriptions and Forza because we could probably continue that because it'll just be endless of what we could suspect from subscription services. But what I'd like to know, the audiences out there, and they need to know, Kevin, where can they find ya, fella?
Yeah, well, thank you again, Matt and Court, for the invite. Had a lovely time. Nathan, it was great to podcast with you. We'll have to touch base more and do some more stuff in the future. I love connecting and forming a community. So thank you guys so much for the invite. Anyone that wants to find me, you can find us over at Project X Talk, YouTube. Like I said, road to 1K. So come over, drop us a sub, hang out. We have a weekly podcast. Thursdays live 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you can't catch us live, we're on all audio podcast services the day after. And you can follow us at Twitter or at Project X Talk on Twitter and follow me at the Muffin Mon. That's a 1 instead of an I and an O instead of an A.
I need to understand.
I do too.
I told this story when I was on Iron Lords. I used to be really
fat.
That's
a long show. So that's a tough.
It's like a 6-hour show.
Mine was only 4.5, I think. But I used to be really, really fat in college, and I would go to Tim Hortons like twice a day and just binge on muffins. Because I went to school near Canada, so we had a Tim Hortons. So when I had to make a gamer tag, I was like,
Nice.
Nice. Wow. So that your gamer tag is Tim Hortons, pretty much. That's
kind
that's,
of.
That's awesome.
What's the muffin? What's the muffin of choice?
Oh, banana nut.
Ooh.
Love banana nut muffins.
That's on the other side of the border.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys
we
don't have those?
I don't even think we have them.
No, we do not sell those here.
What?
No. Chocolate
Wow,
chip, oatmeal,
Chocolate chip
blueberry.
brand.
Oatmeal
brand.
muffins.
Okay, we have a different show for this. This is we've
Yeah,
got a whole
okay.
Nathan.
No, but
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Kev.
No, I was gonna say, but everyone come over, hang out. I won't talk about food over there, but yeah, great show. Thanks, everyone.
Nathan, Press YYZ.
Yo.
What's up? What's up? Where can they
Press
find you?
YYZ. Catch us live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have fun talking. I don't know what we're talking about this week. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants a little bit, but I think that leads to funner shows sometimes. So also follow me on Twitter at @the_NMac. _NMac. I'd love more followers. I'm going to try and get my personal Twitch channel so I don't clog up Press YYZ's up going and streaming WWE 2K220 and probably some Forza. So I'm excited. Matt, we should talk about 2K
We do. We need to talk.
22 soon.
Love to.
So
Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
No
Love to have
probs.
you back again anytime.
Absolutely.
I always joke, Nathan, because we would literally stream at the same time, our shows.
Yes. Yep.
And the one time I actually came on the show and I didn't go